buckle up. It's time to take the trip, buckle up.
You're listening to the Take the Trip podcast, where you'll find real talk and zero filter. I'm your host, Kendra Fogarty, and today we've got a couple who prove that you can have a 9-to-5 life and live like you're already retired, but remix it with a baby. Alex and Libby of TravelinThoms, thank you so much for being here. First, we have to discuss the mullet, obviously. So my first question is, how long have you had it? What is the mullet's origin story? Take us back in time.
That's a great question. So first of all, thank you for having us. Mullet questions are my favorite. Mullet kind of came about just as
I think it's like we started full-time RV, like,
Yeah,
because when you
pretty
started
much.
growing it, actually,
yeah. So I've had
I'm thinking about
like
it.
growing up, I'd have long hair down to my shoulders. My grandma or my mom would shave my head, and then it would just be a cycle. And so did that for a while, and I was like, all right, I'm a grown up now, sort of. So let me try and get a little bit of a different haircut. And then the mullet just kind of came from that after we got married. So
Yeah.
had to look presentable for the wedding, and then we went full time 6 months after that, and mullet was pretty much started then.
Yeah, so Alex had the mullet since, I guess,
2022.
2022.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys were like newlyweds too when you hit the road. I didn't even realize that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I love that you ended up hitting the road and you were kind of like, what hairstyle is going to go best with RV life? I know, a mullet. Like, that's so perfect.
Exactly.
I love it. Now, Libby, are you into it?
I mean, I cut his hair, to be honest. I'm just like, you know what? It fits the whole, like, lifestyle, but also, too, I feel like it's become such, like, a part of us now. To be honest, like, most people at campgrounds or even just in public come up to us and they're like, oh my God, that's such a sick mullet. They say it all the time to Alex.
Yeah.
Like, people come up to him like random. It's not even like girls, it's usually guys. And they're like, I love your hair. And it'll be like the most random places. And I'm like, okay. But even at campgrounds, usually how people like recognize us is that they see Alex and they see his hair and they're like, though, that's definitely Alex.
I love it. It's definitely part of your brand now. It will be tricky if you ever decide to.
At this point, it'd be weird if we got rid of it.
It would be like the mullet's locked in. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be a problem if you ever decide that it's not working out.
It'll
Yeah,
be
that's
something
funny.
crazy if I do. So.
Yeah, like at this point, yeah. One time Alex did have really long hair. It grew so far. He did donate it though. He had a lot, and so he donated it off. But
Oh,
no,
nice.
at this point, we'll just keep them all. So.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. All right. So more about your RV origin story now. So you were newlyweds. Talk to us a little bit about why you went on the road. I know you've shared, Alex, you had some serious health issues, right? So was that kind of like the catalyst, or walk us through that
So-
decision?
Kind of got into RV life a little bit, like at the start of COVID in 2020. Things were from the DC area, so from Maryland. Everything kind of shut down. So we would go to like country concerts, probably like 10 out of 18 weeks of the summer, whatever, and just go, and we'd have so much fun doing it. When everything got canceled, we were looking for something to do. We had a boat, did not have success with the boat. The motor would never work. And then so I was selling a boat on Facebook Marketplace, and when I was doing so, our first camper like appeared. Like, it was incredible. Just listed, I was the first person to message. And so it was an old 1997 travel trailer. It was like 70% like renovated, and we took it the rest of the way, but we got it for a great price. We had it for 6 months, and then we kind of sold it. So we got it April of 2020, sold it for like double what we had into it in that October, November.
And it's October, November, like 2020. This was like the height of COVID where everyone was buying campers. They were like going crazy. Anyone who camped at this time kind of knows. So we kind of were like, all right, this camper obviously isn't working. Like Alex, like he looked like the scene from Elf, like Buddy, where he's literally showering because Alex is 6'4". And so he would literally have to like squat to shower in our travel trailer that we first have. And he's like, yeah, like this isn't going to work like long term. Anyway,
And it was never a plan to like go into it full time. Like,
it was
we-
more
our-
for weekends.
Yeah, our jobs went remote because of COVID. Nobody knew how long COVID was going to last and if our jobs were going to stay remote. So we just did it as a filler. And then we just totally fell in love with the lifestyle of going from weekend to doing
Week-long
week-long
trips.
stuff. And then we ended up kind of recycling the money that we got for that 97 travel trailer, put it into a 2020 Keystone Impact, which is like the baby Fusion toy hauler. Took that on our up to the Keys, was our first month of like being in the RV, and it stuck because we were working, we got to watch everybody else go fish and paddleboard and everything. So
That was our part-time experiment. We're like, let's like part-time and just see how it goes for a month, and let's try the Florida Keys, which was super fun. But we're like, wow, after doing that, I was like, yeah, we could definitely do RV life. Like, this is great.
we were able just to push from one rig to the next over, 18 months or whatever. We did everything, but kind of the driver of it was the remote jobs and the health stuff. For those that don't know, I'm a diabetic since 2006. In 2014, I had a blood clot in my arm. And then in 2020, we do like tech consulting. So we're on our laptops all the time. And I asked Libby, I was like, hey, how do I like send an email? And she thought I was messing
I
with
thought
her.
Alex was like messing with me. I was like, what do you mean you don't know how to write an email? And he was like, no, like I
I
don't
didn't even
know
know
how to write.
yeah, I didn't even know how to start it.
And so it just like, it seemed weird to me. And then there were just like some other signs. So anyway, ended up taking Alex to the hospital because he was just totally off. And I texted one of my good friends that was like a nurse anesthetist. And she's like, yeah, like take him. And anyway, ended up being something major. So glad I did. And anyway, he ended up having a series like multiple strokes. So that's kind of really, I think after going through that and then Alex being in essentially, essentially like rehab and seeing
for
so
about
many
6 months.
so many different doctors, like pretty much every single ologist you could think of. And we went to the best of the best, like Johns Hopkins, because we're from Maryland. And even they didn't have answers for why Alex had strokes at 25. Like there was no end result. So it kind of just like stemmed us being like, you know what, life's short. And Alex always had said that he was like, the only thing that makes me really happy is traveling and camping. If we can do this, like, I'm good. So I
Yeah, it
was
turned
like,
into such a saving grace for
all
me.
right.
And so we just kind of kept plugging along, and we had gotten engaged, and then I had the strokes 2 weeks later. So the plan was to get married in Maryland. And so once we got through the wedding stuff, we got married in August. So by the time we got back, we took a 6-week honeymoon, did 9,000 miles in 6 weeks. We went from Maryland all the way up to Glacier through Utah, Colorado. It was incredible. A lot of driving, but it was like, we can do this. It worked for our jobs. It worked for us. We have dogs. They're great travelers. And we just
Yes.
have kind of never looked back, and we've just continued to evolve and grow, and it's been the best thing that we've ever done.
Yeah, so after all that, we were like, all right, let's do it. So like most full-time RVers, pretty much everyone sells like everything to hit the road. We did kind of the opposite. We actually kept our house back in Maryland. So we've short-term rented it since 2022, like doing Airbnb, VRBO, those kind of platforms. Just so want to go back for the holidays.
Our rigs have barely fit in our driveway,
Yeah.
but they fit. It makes it way easier because there's no campgrounds within a half hour. There's only like 3 in Maryland. Stay open year round. So
Yeah.
we're at least a half hour away, and it just doesn't. And then we're even further from family, so it didn't even make sense to really explore the campgrounds in the area.
Yeah, so we got the house ready. We got a new rig. We got like a through Montana. Back then, it had an office space, which I feel like at that time in like 2020, 21, like a lot of them didn't have office spaces like they do today because so many more people are remote. So we got that Montana. And then, yeah, we hit the road officially March of 2022. And really haven't looked back, honestly, since.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing. There's so much there I want to unpack. That's just such an epic story.
It was a long way of saying it, but yeah.
No, yeah, there's just so many interesting things, and just the way you were able to turn a very scary situation into like, making sure that you're living life to the fullest. It's like that song, right? Where it's like, live every day like you're dying. I always think of that one. And it's like, sometimes when something like that happens, you're like, I need to reevaluate what I'm doing and how I'm living. So I love that that's brought you to the road. I also love how the universe was so persistent, it feels like, because it like sabotaged your boat, right? It was like, oh, you want to be boaters? No, you're not. And then sent you that vintage camper, right? And then doubling that in value. That's impressive. But I guess that's probably like the only period of time where you can really do that, right? When it was like the COVID frenzy.
Yeah, to get that kind of value out of it, for sure. We were able to do it kind of double up too, is we sold the impact that we got about a year later. Somebody had bought it when there was a truck shortage, so the thing never even left the Camping World lot. So we bought a used Keystone impact toy hauler. So we've done okay.
We've gotten like lucky overall on the camper front. I know they say, major depreciating asset.
And
but,
it is.
I mean, it is. But we haven't lost like that much money on all the ones we've owned, to be honest.
But
so it's worked out. And the experiences outweigh the cost.
100%. Dave Ramsey may not get it, but we get it. Like, we understand it's
we'll
worth it.
$1,000 or whatever he says to do with buying an RV, whatever. It's worth it. It's worth it for us.
It sounds like you guys haven't done bad. Like, so you've had 4 rigs, is that right?
4 plus.
We did have a truck camper
we had
as
a truck
well for a
camper.
short. This is pre-baby. We bought a truck camper I'm trying to think.
End of 23.
End of 2023, we were going to take that truck camper potentially to Alaska because who doesn't want to do Alaska at some point? But we didn't want to take our fifth wheel because we heard the roads were bad, etc. And so we bought this truck camper off Facebook and we renovated it in like a month.
Put solar on
Put
it.
solar on it. Like it was totally outfitted for Alaska. And then we took a short trip up to a ski resort like in Maryland just for New Year's, just to test things out. And then we took it up later on that fall and did like Maine and stuff and did Acadia and just trying it out. But anyway, in between that, I got pregnant. So anyway, the truck camper was something that we had for a short stint and we ended up selling it. But
we would get
it was-
another one. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's just with the stage of life that we bought it in and then ended up in.
Totally.
It didn't make sense
Us,
anymore.
yeah.
We would buy another one, like if something came up, but just the timing, we're like, yeah, we can't keep this anymore.
Yeah,
So-
that totally makes sense. Well, that's awesome that you guys have made out pretty well on the different RVs. That's one of the trickiest things where if you were like where we are, where we've feeling like we'd like a different layout, but it's like, oh, but then I'm gonna, burn 25 grand, light it on fire, so it's tricky. So I love to study, however, whatever you guys have done to make it go so well, because that is super impressive. And you have kept your house. So you still have your house.
Yep.
So how is it as Airbnb hosts? Like, is that so stressful? Like, I always just wonder about that. Like, have you ever had any crazy situations where someone's just like trashed it? Or is it not really that type of, I guess, area where someone might be coming on a vacation-y trip type thing? Or how has it gone?
Yeah, overall, I'd say like 90% positive, 10% crazy. And I think that's with any person that owns like a short-term rental or a rental property in general. There was one time we had someone who thought the grass was a little bit too long for their liking. And I don't know if they like measured it or what, but they were like, it's a little like too long. It's 6 inches and that's just not to my liking. And I'm like, okay.
That's so random.
Like that, yeah. But I'd say 90% positive. We have always had a management company help just because we're out and about traveling. Sometimes, as you know, like you don't always have service no matter what. So we do a management company that helps that while we're traveling and everything too.
Yeah.
And so we have done short-term rental from 2022 through this past year. And then we actually recently just changed it to a long-term rental because Airbnb is their host fees. So they used to take about 3% from host, but now they take over 15.5% from host.
That's awful.
So it's hard to compete as a small business against obviously other Airbnbs, but also like the hotel industry. So we decided when we just went home this past winter, we moved everything out, sold pretty much everything on Facebook. And we were like, let's just long-term it because the fees were getting really high, which a lot like short-term owners have been experiencing.
Yeah, in case you picked up on the theme, we're huge Facebook Marketplace people.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's one thing I miss, like porch pickup. I remember the days where I just had constant stuff coming in and out, right? And now it's so much more complicated, but I loved
it.
Yeah, love Facebook Marketplace. Well, that's really interesting. How did it feel when you went back into the house? I always wondered about that too, because I was like, if we rent it though, like, how's it going to feel when you go back in and you just know all these other people were like living in your space and stuff? Like, did you like sage it, or how did it feel like after people had been there?
Like, to be honest, I feel like when we first started short-term renting it out, it was kind of weird at first knowing someone else had slept in our bed.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we kind of joke like it's weird, but the check kind of makes up for it. So,
Yeah, the money kind of made up for it, so you
Yeah.
kind of get over it. Like once you see them,
Yeah.
kind
and
of
the flexibility that it gave us, like we would go back for a month or whatever on the holidays and not have to worry about dumping tanks or anything like that. So it kind of would give us that good reset.
Yeah.
we would do appointments and stuff. Like we pretty much do like all the end of year things, see family, and it worked out. Like usually like we try to go back like once a year, mainly just to check on the property, but then also just for ourselves for holiday type stuff. But every time we go back, it's really weird and the house feels massive. And I will say our house is like not big. Our house is 1,000 square feet. I think the RV is probably 400 square feet.
Yeah.
So like, yes, the house is bigger than the RV, but overall it's not that much bigger. I think my favorite thing about going back to the house is having a full-size washer and dryer, because in the RVs it's the same. It takes me so long to do like anything like that. Same like having a normal like dishwasher, like all those things. We still prefer like RV to be compared to the house because we find the layout in the RV is more functional and you have more storage space than we do in a house, which I think a lot of people find.
Love that. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. So what are you going to do? So now it's a long-term renter though. So you aren't able to like go back for the holidays or anything like that. So now they'll just be in it. So you're kind of just going to see how that goes.
Yeah, so if we wanna go back, I mean, there are campgrounds that we
Hmm.
mentioned that are open year round. The reason that we kinda shifted away from the short-term rental is just we might do well 6 or 8 months of the year, but we'd
Hmm.
have to spend that, like, savings or extra money surplus
That
and
makes
put it
sense.
in the off month.
Yeah.
So it just
Yeah.
it was okay, it was cash flowing fine, but just to have to play that, kinda Tetris within, "Hey, we're gonna do really well 6 or 8 months, but then we're gonna suck."
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also, like, once we had our daughter, the layout of the house did not work with the baby. It was fine with us and 2 dogs, and then once we had a baby in the mix, we were like, "This layout of the house just isn't working," which says a lot for us considering we live in an RV, and we're like, "The house just doesn't work," which I think a lot of our friends and family back home were, like, surprised by that. They're like, "What do you mean the RV is better with the baby?" We're like, "It's just so much better. The layout's better, the functionality is better. We don't like the house layout
The
with the
the
baby."
lifestyle's
The
better. I mean,
Yeah.
lifestyle's
it's just
better.
It's
we
all
kinda
better.
When we were in the house, like, this past holiday season, it basically came to my breaking point. I was like, "I'm done with this house. We just need to, like, be done with it. Like, I can't move back into it." Also, moving
Hmm.
in and out, like, the RV into a house, back into the RV, it's a lot of work moving in and out, and the house, to be honest, like, ever since I started renting it, it never really felt like our house again
Hmm.
because in a way, Airbnbs have to maintain a certain aesthetic. It's
Hmm.
not that it's not homey, but it's just not your own belongings and it's not your own space.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I imagine also moving back in with a baby, that's even harder. They have so many accessories and things. So that had to be a
was
challenge.
that was the huge surprise for me of all the stuff that is involved with a newborn baby.
And also, you having a girl, there's so many clothes and
So
all
much
things
pink.
pink, and I love all that stuff. Alex is
I
like,
love it
"Where's this
too.
gonna go?" Yeah, deep down, you love it,
It
but, like,
was just a
where's it
big
gonna go?
surprise.
Yeah, especially when you're like, where are we going to put this? At the baby shower, you're probably like looking at this stuff and like
Yeah,
doing like the
no,
math in your head, like, where is this going to go?
we did the
Yeah.
baby shower and we brought all the gifts into the house because we had it blocked and we put all the stuff on our bed. And I said, our room just looks like Pink threw up.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
We did end up having 2 baby showers, and this just goes to speak about, like, how great the RV community is. Our RV friends also threw us a baby shower down the Florida Keys, and we were down there before the baby, which was super nice. It
It
was
was
a
awesome.
surprise
So
baby
sweet.
shower.
Oh, that's so
I had
sweet.
no idea. Alex did know. They told Alex, but they didn't tell me. And it was just so nice. It was a lot of our, like, close RV friends. It's actually a lot of people that we've met, like, through having Thousand Trails.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was just super sweet, but in essence, we did have a lot of baby stuff after everything.
Winter makes everyday things harder. Dead batteries, snowed in driveways, messy cars, and getting stuck when you least expect it. If you're anything like me, it's also always when you're already running late. That's why this episode is brought to you in part by eTrailer, because winter has a way of keeping us on our toes. Even when we try to snowbird, it always seems to find us somewhere, at least for a few days. So whether you're gearing up for winter or you're dealing with it as it comes, eTrailer helps keep you on the road with gear like tire chains, battery chargers, floor mats, and recovery equipment you can trust. You know, the kind of gear you're glad you planned for when conditions change fast. Head over to eTrailer.com or click the link in the notes to find winter gear that fits your vehicle and handles whatever the season throws at you, so you can spend less time stressing about freezing and more time drinking hot toddies or skiing or whatever it is that brings you joy when that snow is falling. All right, so how is it going now that you've added baby to the mix? Like, how has it changed the lifestyle for you, if at all?
So we're going to bed earlier, or we're trying to.
For trying to. I
Uh,
think she goes to bed early, but, like, Alex and I are night owls, so that's kind of our issue. I would say just because Alex and I do work normal 9 to 5 corporate jobs the week, like, Monday through Friday, our biggest thing was we knew that once we had a baby, we're like, "Okay, like, it's really just on us to, like, kinda figure this out." We have no support, really, like, we have no village because when you're doing this lifestyle, it's not like you have, grandparents, whoever, like, next door to help you. It's truly on, like, yourself as a couple to figure things out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I also too, we're like, okay, we need to have kind of her like on a schedule just so we know what to expect out of the day. And I feel like when you become a parent, the internet overwhelms you with information, but you have to do like what is best for you and kind of ignore what everyone else says. So I feel like based on that, I think we've done pretty
yeah, and
well.
I think the thing with us is we push ourselves. Like, I don't like to sit still. And so when she was born in March, and then we were back on the road full time in a brand new rig in June. So we didn't take very long to get back and moving and everything. And so just being able to then like organize the whole new rig, our stuff, her stuff, the
Hmm.
dog stuff, and just kind of go through it. Like,
And then we had to get our house ready again to Airbnb out because at that time it was still short term. It was not long term. We
yeah,
only
so
moved into it
we do
temporarily.
like 4 moves in like a week.
Oh my gosh, that's stressful.
But no, I feel like parenthood and everything, it's gone well. I think honestly, in a lot of ways, having a baby in the RV in some ways is easier, like especially once they get more mobile. For instance, all the furniture on the RVs are like bolted down except like maybe chairs.
That's a
So
great point.
she's not
Yes.
pull down anything because everything is bolted down, everything is anchored. So I feel like in some ways it's kind of easier and
Well,
it's
and
mostly one level
yeah,
too. We're not worrying too much about the
Hmm.
stairs. At least not the outside stairs yet, but like we're not too worried about those things. And then also too, just based on the layout that we have. So we have the Brinkley G4100. The toy hauler we converted from a garage to her nursery. And it's worked out like really well
yeah.
because it's a big enough space. She has her own dedicated room. And then also too, like if we ever have like other kids and everything too, it's a great space to have multiple kids. And I think most families that have multiple kids end up going to the toy hauler at some point because as their
Hmm.
kids grow, they outgrow the bunk room, they all go to toy haulers. And that was one of our reasons why we went for a toy hauler like right away versus the bunk room because it just seems kids outgrow the bunk room so fast anymore. And
Hmm.
they're not as spacious as the garage room.
For sure. Yeah, that all tracks. It's just been really cute seeing your content too, like the evolution of it. Parenthood definitely looks good on you guys, and it's so fun to see the adventures with the baby and how it's just kind of just fit right into what you've been doing. I do
Yeah.
wonder, real talk, was the baby planned or was she a happy surprise?
Happy
Yeah,
surprise.
mostly a surprise. We had always said that we would probably try and have a kid around the time we turned 30.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay. So it was kind of around the timeline that you were thinking.
Surprisingly, when we found out, we actually were staying at Tolona Ridge in Georgia, and we had some family visiting. We had Alex's siblings
yeah,
visiting us, and we were having a great time and everything. And
it
then
was 4th of July.
I don't know if anyone else like on the podcast listens, but I have an Aura ring, and I've had an Aura ring for like years now, and I love it. And my Aura ring was the one that told me it was like, "Hey, you probably should take a test because you're late." And I was like, whoa, like this is kind of crazy. And I said to Alex, I said, after his family left, I was like, I think we gotta go to Walmart and get a test. Like, I'm kind of nervous. But I was like, I don't know, we'll probably be fine. Like, I'm not too worried. Anyway, that day we had moved campgrounds. We left Tunnel Ridge, moved to like a state park. Then we went to Walmart. I mean, we got Korean barbecue and everything. And then I took a test that night and I just kind of forgot about it. And then literally looked in the counter and I saw the two pink lines and I was like, oh, I never taken a pregnancy test before. So I honestly had like no idea. And I was like, I'm pretty sure this is positive. And I also took a digital test because it came with one. And once I took the digital test and it literally read pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. Like this is real. And I remember walking in to our room and I said, Alex was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. He goes, what? We both were just so surprised. Good
My
surprise.
gosh.
We're just
Yes.
shocked. Like we couldn't believe it because of like, I guess my type A personality. I ended up taking like 10 tests.
Oh, yeah,
Like
she had to be very
I,
sure.
I had to be
10.
exactly I took like 10 tests and after that, Alex goes, Libby, like you're definitely pregnant. Alex is our travel planner. So Alex plans out like our travels like a year in advance. And
Hmm.
Alex is funny. He sends our friends, our close friends, like a spreadsheet about everywhere we're going, the dates, the campground. It's very
It gives a
meticulous.
rough idea of where we're trying to be, and
Yeah, and probably, like, a few weeks before that, he had sent that spreadsheet to our friends, and then once I found out, like, I was pregnant, I was like, "Yeah, so I think we're gonna have to make some adjustments to that because I just don't know, like, we're gonna have to figure this out." He just laughed, he goes, "Oh, it's fine. No, it took me a while, but it's fine."
well, it's so funny because like we were like 3 months into the on the road, and she had a family wedding, and she thought it was the following year. Like our first year on the road, we're 3 months in, we're in Texas, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go up to like Michigan or something for the fall." I was like, "Awesome!" I had it all planned out. She's like, "Actually, the wedding is in like a month in Arizona." So rerouted
So it's, like, not the
everything,
first time I've told this on Alex, and he's like,
and
"Okay,
it was great
great."
because we got to do the balloon fiesta and see people for a couple of days,
The
and
surprises always work out.
oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
such a good point. Like all the changes that we don't expect, but then it always works out to be great anyway. No matter where you go, it's always a
It
good
all
time.
It all works out. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
kind of
totally
how the
does.
pregnancy story came about. We've gotten this question a bunch, but like people are like, how did you like do appointments? How did you do the pregnancy from on the road? People do it all kinds of ways. We found it the easiest to have one primary like OBGYN. So we're from Maryland. We have a house there. We knew like we had a baby and everything too. We're like, probably want to maybe stay in our house for a little bit once she's born, and then we can go back on the road and, you know, kind of get acclimated again. Because we didn't know how things were gonna look with traveling the baby, because we've never done this. And we honestly hadn't seen a lot of people on social media do it either in an RV. So it was all just kind of new territory. So we basically traveled, then we would go back to our house in
So
Maryland
we
for
would
the
block
appointments.
the house for a couple days to do appointments, like
Yeah.
see friends or whatever. And then we would go back to the camper at a campground that we had for a couple of months.
Yeah, we would basically just like kind of travel back and forth. I had a hard pregnancy. I started getting really sick at like starting at 6 weeks, and I was sick
Mm.
for like 6 months,
Oh,
where I
man.
had HG, which is I can't never pronounce it, but
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
it's
yeah. That's
outrageous.
brutal.
So it was really rough on both of us, and especially me. And being pregnant in the RV was hard having HG, especially with
Mm-hmm.
situation because of how, you know, things are set up with RV toilets. Have HG, I would not recommend doing it in an RV. But, you know, it did get better towards the end because when I was so sick, we ended up staying stationary at a campground in Maryland for a few months because we didn't know how things were going to look for me just because how sick I was. I physically really much.
Aw.
And then once I actually got better, we did take a baby moon. We flew out to Sedona, Arizona, because we're on the East Coast. We're not driving all that way. And
And
then
Sedona is one of our favorite
Yeah.
places.
love Sedona.
Yes.
And then we did a trip to Maine in the truck camper. I did that for a little while. So I did try the truck camper pregnant. And that's when after that I was like, yeah, I can't do this with the baby. I can't do this pregnant. Getting up and down out of the bed in the truck camper was hard pregnant. And we did take a trip before the baby to Florida.
We were like around New Year's, and everybody's saying what their goals were, like bucket list things. And I was like, honestly, like the bucket list thing is just to do this with our kid. And
Yeah.
kind of reminisce.
Yes.
How was it like New Year's 2024 into 25? And then this year, like reminiscing what we did is like our favorite memory this year is we got to bike through the Grand Tetons with our daughter. And it was just like, it's incredible. So
Yeah. And she
that
loved
was,
it.
that was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always the adventures you go on you don't realize before you have the kids. Like you're worried it's going to kind of kill the vibe or slow you down. But then when you have them, then you're like, no, it just made all the adventures even better. Like, yeah, we can still do almost all the things. So that is awesome. That sounds legendary, though, to have the baby in the Grand Tetons biking. You don't really think about your RV tank system until something stops working right. And then everyone knows, and it's really all you can think about. That's why we use Camp Champ's Super Digest for routine maintenance. It uses stabilized live microbes, which means it continuously produces fresh enzymes inside your tank to keep waste breaking down properly, helps reduce buildup, keeps sensors cleaner and more accurate, and supports overall tank performance in both black and gray tanks. I won't share the video footage, but we were shocked to see how much was lurking in our gray tanks that Super Digest cleared out. Biodegradable, safe for seals, and incredibly easy to use. Use the code TAKETHETRIP for 25% off and give your tank the maintenance it actually needs to avoid those what the flush moments. So I do wonder, was there anything you were like really nervous about? Or did you have any thoughts like, should we keep traveling? Was there any part of you that thought you might just stay in the house and not hit the RV again?
Yeah. I mean, every thought. I mean, because
I think also like being pregnant and postpartum, make your hormones just go crazy. And I feel like my mindset, pregnant and postpartum, Alex can speak to this. It's
I
just
probably better not speak to it. I probably better not.
like I feel like your mind just isn't as clear at times. I feel like I go all over the place, honestly. There was times where like, do we go back to a house? Do we stay on the road? But we've always loved to travel. That's just kind of how we've always been, like our entire relationship. I think there was a lot of things we wanted to still see or, you know, do again. I think there's so many places when you do this lifestyle, you fall in love with and you want to visit again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, Grand Tetons is probably one of our favorite areas in the country. We love it in the summer. I think most people do. It's just stunning national park. I think for Alex and I, we like to give everything a try first before being, I'm going to quit. We were just kind of like, all right, let's give this whole like RV lifestyle with the baby a try and see how it goes. Like, worst case, we can always go back to a house.
Well, and that was the beauty
Totally.
of having the house to go back to. I had the expectation, we'll hit the road in like 2 months. It was like 2.5, but we had the flexibility to make it work with our schedule.
Something that the RV lifestyle gives you is just ever-changing backgrounds and environments. It's just really unique. Like every single week or how often you move, like you always have like a different scenery. And I think mentally that helped me a lot, like postpartum. It was hard, like for me postpartum. I was saying like the early days, especially if you do plan to breastfeed or pump, it's just there's just a lot that goes into it. And then throw working on top of it. It's like just multiple full-time jobs. But I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, like getting out and making myself physically go outside and do the things and force myself being like, all right, I'm not going to stop living my life just because we have a baby. I think it helped both of us a lot. And I think also there was friends of ours that are, similar in age to us that also want to have kids at some point and they don't, and they see us doing it. They're like, okay, like you guys don't make it look so bad. You guys give us like really bad baby fever. And I'm like, I'm not trying to influence you in a bad, like good or bad way. I think at times like social media or maybe we can make it look easy. It's not always easy. I think a lot of it is mindset about how you handle like parenthood. I think it's totally on the parents. I think some babies are easier than others. I think every baby is different as well. We've been pretty fortunate that Camden's been pretty good and everything. But I think also too, that speaks to Alex and I just as our parenthood style. And also like I think RV life as well. In RV life, you have to be super adaptable. Things go wrong. Things never go according to plan. And even with the baby, it's the same exact thing. You have to be able to adapt and change your ways or change your methods. And that's why I think for us, like going from not having kids to having a baby, it hasn't been as bad of a transition, I think, as we both thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that natural progression for us. I mean, we've been together since we were 19, and so it's just, we're married and everything. So it's just,
Right
and we
now.
wanted a family at some point, and it just worked out the way that it did, and we wouldn't change a thing.
Those were very wise words for a first-time mom. Those were like really important considerations. Like I love what you said about the mindset of when you're parenting. That does make a huge difference. And there are so many parallels to the travel lifestyle that we can learn from and incorporate into our parenting style. So I just love that. So I am curious, what did your family and friends think about your decision to continue traveling with the baby? Like, or even your OBGYN, were people like, what? Mind blown? You're gonna keep doing this?
Yeah, everybody thought we were crazy pre-kid, so they just that craziness, that train kept rolling.
I think
So,
it just kept going. I think our RV friends, they thought nothing of
well,
it
they
because they already
understand,
do it.
like, this
Totally.
lifestyle is so incredible. So they're like, we would absolutely get back on if we could. And
Yeah,
so,
RV friends got it, but our friends and family that don't do, RV lifestyle, I think a lot of them were very surprised that we wanted to get back and travel. And a lot of them kept saying, it's like the things you see on social media, like just wait. It's like the just wait
Mm.
kind of comments, or, just wait till they're walking, just wait until they're rolling, crawling, whatever. It's going to be really hard for you guys to do it. And you're not going to have the same lifestyle, all the negative things. I think Alex and I just happen to prove all of them wrong.
Yeah,
So
and it is
heck
hard.
yeah.
We wake up and it's just all like babies are the best, but they're tough. You don't know, they can't communicate, so you have to kind of put yourself in that position. So being a parent is the hardest job for sure.
it's hardest, most rewarding job.
Yes.
100%. Yes. And what do you guys do for remote work? Do you tag team?
So we work for like same company, but it's like a million people. So we do completely different things.
We both work for like a Fortune 500 like consulting firm. So they do
Okay.
government consulting. We are on the government side, and we both have been doing this basically since we graduated college. I have a background in chemistry and math, which I think most would find surprising. And then Alex has a business background and marketing background.
Okay. So like during your work day, do you just kind of like take turns with who's tending to the baby? Like do you flex your hours or how do you make that work?
So we're pretty much a standard 9 to 5. We have the flexibility if we need it, but with the sleep training schedule that Camden was on since she was super young, we know that we have at least 3 hours spread over 2 naps where we'll be able to really dedicate time to
Nice.
work stuff. My project is actually based on Central Time, so I kind of
Mm.
get an extra hour or so in the
That
morning
helps.
to ease her from her wake up into her morning nap, and then Libby's kind of able to pick up the slack when I have to work later or whatever that kind of looks like. Cameron does great, just kind of crawling around us or playing by herself or anything in between. I mean, I've done plenty of calls with her sitting on my lap, so it's been
Yeah, that makes
Yep,
sense.
just trying to juggle it between us both. I won't say like every single day is easy. I think a lot of people probably look at us being like, "I know how they're doing it all." Sometimes I don't really
we
know
don't
how we're
have.
doing it either, to be honest. But I think between us, we just try to juggle it the best that we can, and
Hmm.
we don't really have super flexible schedules because we do work corporate jobs, just they happen to be remote now. I won't say it's always easy, but it's definitely doable. And some days are easier than others, and some days are, hard. But I think
Yeah.
that's any parenthood experience, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so relatable. Yeah, for sure.
I think we're just fortunate we can like be with her, day to day. We can see her grow up. We see all the milestones. We really don't miss a beat because it's pretty much been Alex and I since we had her.
Yeah.
Like she hasn't really been with anyone else. Like we're the only ones who've taken care of her and everything too.
Yeah, every night it's been
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And even those days where I'm like really grinding or I've got a long work day and then I start to think like, oh shoot, like I feel bad. Like I wish I could have been with my kid a little bit more. Then I like rewind and I'm like, I'm still with them so much more than I would be if we were back to like, where I was going to work and where they were going to school. There's still so many moments in between all those moments of work where it just balances out really nicely. All right, so it's time to play a little Live, Visit, Exile. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to give you 3 places. And I want you to choose one that you're going to live at, one that you're going to visit, and the other you have to exile yourself from, never to return. All right, so the first one is New England, the South, or the Pacific Northwest. So where are you living? Where are you going to visit? And where are you exiling yourself from?
Yeah, I think we probably would have different answers. Maybe similar, honestly. I think I want to answer mine first.
You go ahead.
Okay, where I want to exile, probably the Northeast or the New England Northeast area.
Oh,
Yeah, that's probably where I would exile. I don't really love the cold, humid weathers and seasons.
New England would be mine as well, but Maryland is kind of in that between the South in New England, so it's like the Mid-Atlantic. So if it was Mid-Atlantic, then it'd be a little bit of a different answer, but New England would be exiled for me as well.
Yeah. And then I'd say live in the South, mainly due to the weather. I like to have the option of it being mostly warm, but also having the option where you're not too far to drive to the mountains or potentially go skiing, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then visit Pacific Northwest. I think it's just beautiful out there. Mount Rainier, like all-time favorite hike.
Yeah, I'd probably be flip-flopped. I'd probably live in the Pacific Northwest if we're including Idaho and Montana kind of out there, and
Sure.
then I would with the South.
All right, cool. Well, at least you're on the same page about exiling New England. I'd probably have to do the same just because of the weather, even though I do love the vibes up there. All right, so the next one, Dry Tortugas, Zion, and Yosemite. So where are you living, where are you visiting, and where are you exiling?
I would say for me, Dry Tortugas is getting exiled. It's kind of a one and done for me.
Okay.
Zion, I would probably live and visit Yosemite.
I think I'd be the same. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. So I am curious about Dry Tortugas. Did you do the plane or the boat to go there? The plane. And do you feel like it was worth the money?
Yes, but no.
Yeah,
It's
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 expensive.
expensive.
We did like a half day. I think it was $500 a person, which is very expensive for a round trip flight that's not even like 40 minutes.
We
The
did it.
experience is cool.
We
It's
did,
better than the boat because the boat is a very long trek. I think the national park itself is really beautiful. Like the water is insanely blue and everything. However, I think we've done all the Florida national parks. We like Biscayne National Park
for
probably
for
better
snorkeling.
for snorkeling better.
It's not. I mean, Dry Tortugas. Like I thought we would get more time before the boat got there, and we maybe had like 30 minutes by the time we got off the plane and then the boat showed up. We didn't get that extra time that we were thinking we would.
It gets very touristy very fast once the boat
Well, and it's just
gets there.
everybody's trying to snorkel, so like and then you can only go so far because it's got like netting. So you have to as far out as you can to have decent visibility, at least on the
Okay.
day that.
I think the way to do Dry Tortugas, which we didn't know until we got out there, but a lot of people rent out like catamarans or the private
Yeah, make a
ones and
weekend of
make a
it.
week of it or weekend. And I think that's kind of the way to do it if you're trying to get more out of it versus
Yeah, especially if you go with a
quick trip.
group and you don't have to rush.
All right, that's a good tip. Thank you for passing along that knowledge. I was curious. We were like up in the air where I was like, I just don't know for sure that this is going to make the most sense. And we'd be with our kids and the little one, she can't really like snorkel. So I was like, I don't know how fun this is going to be. Speaking of the travels that you've gone on, are there any experiences that you've had where you're just like, oh my God, you cannot make this up? Like that type of tale from the road. Can you walk us back in time to any of those situations that you may have experienced?
So we've done hikes where like we've had a couple little bear encounters, but also with like that 1997 travel trailer, we didn't know about the emergency brake for the rig. So I tried to take it to coincidentally get new tires after like we got it, and I just drug the thing. Tires were smoking. So that's kind of a funny story. And
Oh
that
my
was we're
goodness.
so green. And the thing with us is we didn't grow up RVing. Like we didn't do
Yeah.
any of it. We were just
Never grew up camping, no tent camping, no RV, nothing. Neither one of
we
us
were
did.
just
So we're learning off YouTube. And we started RVing at 24 years old. So we were young, naive. We had no idea what we were doing. And honestly, I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of good laughs out of both of us because we really
well,
had no
we still get laughs about it.
we had no clue. And even in that first camper we had, like the 97 travel trailer, we didn't even understand like when the tanks would be full. And then one time I remember we were
We were
about
getting
to
ready to
move
leave.
and the
And
bathtub was like filled with water. And I said to Alex, I said, maybe we need to drain the tanks. Like we just didn't know. We were very like naive is the best way to put it. But we definitely have had a lot of things breaking. I think a lot of people that go into RV life, whether you buy a new or used RV, it doesn't matter. They all have their issues. I mean,
Totally.
we like broken out the back window in Montana. We were driving. We came out of the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel and we stopped at the rest area afterwards. And literally I went inside our RV to go to the bathroom and I was like, it's really hot in the RV, like
so
more than normal. And then I looked down where the slides are all enclosed and I just saw the outside. I was like, oh my God, the whole back window busted.
No.
And if you don't know, RV windows are very expensive to replace, which I don't think I
and
knew that until that
yeah,
happened.
How did it happen? Do you know? Is it just from
no,
the
it,
We don't
pressure?
know.
Because I hate that bridge or whatever you want to call it. Bridge, tunnel.
I didn't like it
Oh my
either.
God. The
Like,
so
worst.
know how it happened. And it was only like the one window. We still don't know, but
it could have been we had a bike rack and we could have just hit a bump and
yeah, we
the
don't.
handlebar hit it. I don't think that's what
Dang.
it was. I just think it was just kind of wrong place, wrong time, pressure of whatever.
Yeah,
But
we've
Going
had that.
underground. Oh, that's scary.
Also, on our first travel trailer too, we went to this campground in West Virginia. It was actually the Harpers Ferry KOA. This is again us being very green into RV, not knowing what we're doing. And someone had told us that we need chalks because we were like leaning, I guess, a certain way. We could have rolled into the campground store.
they said the site they put us in, someone there didn't use chalks and didn't put their trailer down all the way. And I guess I don't know if they walked to the back and it lifted it or whatever, but they rolled straight back into the camp store. So
Oh
we
my
literally
God.
got chalks.
My gosh. But I just love that you guys were willing to just embrace it. You went in there and like you said, you were referencing YouTube and stuff, but at the same time, you're like, we're interested in this. We're going to go figure it out. We're going to do the damn thing. And it's okay if we have to learn as we're going. So I think that's a good reminder too. If anyone's like curious about RVing, but it feels overwhelming and you're like, I don't know all the things. It's like, you'll figure them out. Don't worry. Like your shower overflow, like you'll figure it out. Just go for it.
We've also, especially, I mean, Alex, not as much me. Alex has become like extremely handy since we've done RV life because when things go wrong or we do a lot of boondocking and we've had times where like the water pump broke boondocking or, you know, things just go wrong and that's just kind of a part of the lifestyle. So you have to be handy or be willing to become handy and
Yeah.
always willing to learn because there's always things that happen.
Well, this whole
Yeah.
lifestyle, you have to be self-sufficient, especially if you are going to get off grid. I mean, having resources like YouTube or friends that are more experts or whatever, you know, RV maintenance is always helpful. We always recommend people make friends with RV techs all over the country because you never know where you're going to be when something goes wrong. Yeah, no, it's crazy. That travel trailer that we had, we pulled into a campground in the summer and it was like 94 degrees out and we couldn't get the AC on. And we were like 4 hours from home. And Liv was like, you got to get this working now or you're taking me
I was
back
like, I'm
today.
done. I'm never camping again.
Yeah.
I was like,
And-
the back, this thing is so
and-
old. No wonder the AC doesn't work.
I'm like, it's 94 degrees. I'm sweating. I'm doing everything I can. I'm like, you know, tapping the button. I'm looking at the roof. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And
But also the thermostat in that was like a dial one. It was old school.
I ended up asking our neighbor at the camp. I said, hey, do you know anything about like camper ACs? He's like, well, I'm an electrician, so I could probably figure it out. And we walk up and he's like, did you check your breakers? I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. It was like the brake ripped. It was
We
just something so
we
stupid.
did not know. And then what was funny is like a couple years later, Alex did like a work camping position in Austin, Texas for a bit. And Austin in the summertime gets extremely hot. And anyway, this couple comes in, they're in like, I guess a class C, and essentially their AC wasn't working. They tried everything, nothing was working. And Alex goes, did you check your breaker box? And they're like, no, we don't even know where it is. And Alex goes, I would check there. I think it's probably that. And sure enough, it was. And they came back and they were like so thankful for us. They're like, oh my God, we would have been out like, see that you guys, blah, blah. And Alex and I were like, trust us, we've been there. So,
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love that it went full circle. And I'm sure there's so many people just feeling totally seen listening to this. And if they don't, they're probably just lying or they've forgotten all the mistakes that they've made on the road. So thank you for normalizing just those things that happen while you're figuring it out. I have a confession. If there was one thing that almost got us off the road, it was the homeschool situation. We felt overwhelmed and learning was feeling stressful for everyone. Then we switched to Me Academy and it honestly changed everything. The lessons are engaging. We love the flexibility. And having the full K-8 course catalog means our kids can work at the level that's right for them. Features like read aloud, captions, and transcripts help them stay independent and confident, which has brought so much peace back into our homeschool days and has them actually loving learning. You can try Me Academy for just $1.99 for the first 30 days, and then you can use the code TRIP20 to save 10 to 20% depending on the subscription type and see how it can bring that same balance to your homeschool journey too. All right, so this is a really random question. Y'all are like the cutoff for millennial status, right? You can probably kind of like claim both, really. You might fit in because you're right on the edge, right? So I am curious because I've noticed you have content that is talking about millennials. So I am just wondering, obviously millennials are superior to Gen Z. I'd be really surprised if I had many Gen Z listeners on here right now, but tell us what you think about it. Like what made you choose to identify as a millennial, or is it just like, is it truly the cutoff?
We are the cutoff. I think technically some people call our generation the 95 babies Zillennial because we're like both. 'Cause we are both the oldest children in our family. We have younger siblings. They're all definitely Gen Z because things that they know, we don't.
Well, I don't know anything. Millennial Gen Z. I don't know any of it.
And anyway, and so I feel like we probably lean more towards millennial just based on like familiarity things, how we do stuff versus Gen Z, like our siblings. You can just tell, I guess, between us.
No, that makes sense. I guess I just wondered if when you're so close, do you notice the differences as much as someone who's like right in the middle or like, I'm an elder millennial. So obviously I can see the differences with, that the stereotypes and stuff for Gen Z. So I just wondered how it feels to like be right on the edge and that you can really side with one strongly. So that's just fascinating to me. So let's talk a little bit about social media. You've built an awesome community. I do have a question. Have you ever had reels that go really big that have made you scratch your head like, why the hell that one? Like, why not this other one that I spent 10 times more effort and energy on? Any of those where you're just like weird reels that went viral and you do not really know why?
I mean, I think social media, it's such a gamble at times. I think when we first started the page, I feel like the most random things would go viral. I just, now doing it now for a few years, I'm trying to think how to frame this the best way. I feel like now we've kind of gone down to a science where we try our best. Obviously, the algorithm will kind of do whatever, but I think if you kind of go in with like strategy, it can get better where you have more consistent views. I think in the beginning, it was just like if someone went viral, you just kind of rinsed and repeated that. And usually it was a lot of like funny stuff. I think one of our first viral videos is when Alex were camping. We're living in Austin, but Alex were camping this campground. Anyone who's ever been to Austin, Austin's thing is like
It's keep Austin.
Keep
weird. It's
Austin
a very
weird.
eclectic place.
Yeah, Austin is just kind of like that vibe or whatever. Anyway, in the campground community, people always talk about pineapples. And if you don't know what a pineapple is, if you have pineapple in the front of your rig, it can mean you're a swinger, whatever. That's just an RV. So in Austin, we had seen someone with pineapples on the front and back of their rig. And we had always
That
heard
was like
about
their only
it.
decoration. They had
There was no other decorations.
Their outdoor mat was like the Texas flag. And then they had pineapples off the front of their fifth wheel hitch
And
then off their bumper.
Like,
and
that's it. It was very obvious. And also it being Austin, we're kind of like,
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I posted a video just being like, when your RV neighbors are the extra friendly kind. And it blew up. And I don't think either of us ever expected that. We were like, that's so random. Like, why that would have blown up. And then another one early on was when you see another young RVer at the campground, because when we started full-time RV life, we were 26 and everyone else is retired pretty much. There's not a lot of young people. And so that a lot of other young campers and RVers. They're like, yes, we would have loved to have seen you guys. And the whole clip is Alex drinking a water, then slamming it down, then opening a beer. And it's just very relatable, like to the younger RVers.
Yeah. They're finally like my people. Yeah, you guys have an awesome page. I know they always say like you have to have brand consistency and that type of thing where people always need to know what to expect, which I'm terrible about because I'm just all over the place. But then seeing how successful you guys have been, it's like, well, there probably is something in that. And obviously you have just great content as well, but it also does remain pretty consistent, I guess, just with your branding. So I know you guys offer coaching calls for social media stuff too. So is there any thing that you'd be willing to share on the podcast today that you felt really accelerated your page or really kind of changed the trajectory? Or did you just hit the ground and start growing really quickly from the get-go?
I'll say it from a non-content side, just go for it. Like, you've got nothing to lose. Like, give it, like, bet on yourself. And just kind of our dynamic is like Libby does all of our content and I do all of our brand engagement. And so I kind of bring the part, Libby's doing the actual creation. So having a balance is also kind of helpful there. But in terms of just betting on yourself, that's the biggest thing. It's just if you want to make money or if you want to do hosted stays or whatever, you have to put yourself out there. You have to put some kind of content out there.
Yeah. And I think like when everyone starts on social media, especially in the RV space, I think a lot of people start off just being like, I'm going to start this page just to share stuff with my family and friends. And then I think people realize that you can actually make money from doing social media, especially today. I feel like a few years ago, like it was kind of starting to be that, but the whole influencer content creation space was still a big question mark. Now it is much more prevalent with the opportunities. And so I feel like early on we started social media. We started it when we first got on the road, like in 2022, but it was very sporadic. We weren't consistently posting. It was just kind of here and there. And then 2023, I was like, okay, I think we can actually like try to turn this into something, but I got to be more consistent. We grew to about like 17,000 followers come like the winter of 2024. And anyway, there was this one account we'd always followed. Their name's like the Lover's Passport. They're a little bit younger than us, but they're a big travel couple. And we'd actually met them when we were traveling in California. Super nice, down to earth people. They were coming out with a course called the Creator's Passport. And they just had talked about like their success and everything. I mean, like they're younger than us and they make over like $1 million a year doing content. And so to Alex and I, that was like really inspiring to hear. You could actually make like a full on career out of this. And they're both super nice, super humble people. Steven actually, he didn't go to college. It just speaks volume that you can be successful without having higher education. You don't need to go to college if you don't want to. So anyway, they came out with their course. Do you want to say
Yeah, no, we just kind of leaned on them and being able to like kind of have that little bit of a personal relationship. Like, yeah, if you're at a campground or whether you're in an industry and you have the opportunity to meet a different creator, like brainstorm with them. There's just so many things like be approachable or approach them because we love it when people come up to us, whether it's a quick thing about the mullet or whether it's, just having content questions. Like we love chatting with people. So most creators would feel the same way.
Yeah, so they launched their course, their first cohort ever, like March of 2024. And we met them and stuff, and we were like, okay, I think we want to invest into this because, if they've been able to be that successful, like who's to say like we can't do that either? Because Alex and I do work corporate jobs. We do them mainly for like the benefits and everything, mainly due to Alex's like health issues. We need to have really good insurance. And also too, we want to have retirement stuff and all the things. So, but we were like, man, if we can really make some out of content, this could be worth it. So let's invest in ourselves. And so anyway, started with them, I think around 17,000 followers. And then come now, we're almost at 100,000 followers on Instagram. We're at over 100,000 followers on Facebook. I think we're about like almost 40,000 on TikTok. So across platforms, we're like nearly 250,000.
That's
Which is
awesome. You're
crazy.
killing it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think like after taking their course and really trying to think like, okay, we can definitely turn this into a business. That really, I feel like helped accelerate our growth and just the mindset and realizing that social media is not just a game, it's a strategy. And that's kind of what they teach in their principles, along with having like consistent things or themes on your page. We always try to throw in like educational content because just like many people when they start an RV life, you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what products to buy. You don't know how to do certain things. So having that to share with the audience about like best campgrounds, best products, or things like anything along those lines. And then funny stuff like husband wife comedy. Anytime, you see couples at a campground backing in, it always strikes up something, like just,
That's very relatable.
it's very relatable.
Yes.
In a situation where they're backing an RV and they have no idea what they're doing. And throwing
That
that
was
out
us
there.
for a long time.
That was us for a long time. And I think everyone goes through that. They did really help us this past year from social media. I'm not saying this to like brag. It's just to show other people listening, like you can make money doing social media.
Yeah, it's very inspiring and it's great to hear your, side of the evolution. And that's a great tip to recommend the Creator Passport. Thank you for sharing that. And I also loved what you said, Alex, about being willing to bet on yourself. Like, yes, just like go for it and like be okay with being kind of cringe. Sometimes you're going to post something, it's going to flop. It's like your mom's going to be the only one to like it or something. And it's all good. Just
Hey,
keep
my
going
Nana's
at
like
it.
the first one. My Nana's the first one to like all of our stuff.
She is. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so great.
So yeah, you just gotta do it and put yourself out there and kind of see what
And
happens.
yeah, and it's
But just show up consistently and have some sort of plan, and like you definitely can see results.
That's
So
great advice. All right. So we got a couple would you rather questions for you guys. So the first one, would you rather lose all the binkies while boondocking or lose all the diapers?
so the binkies for
The
sure
binkies.
because she doesn't really take a pacifier.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. She doesn't even use a pacifier. Now I feel like I got to come up with a whole new one, but I can't on the spot. Well, does she have a stuffed animal that she's obsessed with? Like, does she have a security blanket or anything like that?
Yeah, she started to. We got her one of those like things to protect her head for her if she stands or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when she's not wearing it, she loves just playing with
Just
it.
holding
So
it. It's
anyway,
like a backpack
the answer
butterfly.
is always diapers. It's
Oh.
always so we need diapers at all times.
There's nothing that I could possibly say that's going to make you want to say goodbye to the diapers. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Like I
I
don't know
love
my
it.
else's kids or daughter, as soon as she sits in the car seat, she poops every single time.
It's something
need
about
diapers.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
mhm.
when we're towing and there's nowhere to pull over.
Yeah, that's usually always
Yeah.
what happens. Yeah.
So, what do the travel days look like for you now? Have you changed how quickly you travel, or what's your max hours that you're willing to travel in a day?
That's probably one of the biggest things for me is when it was just us and the dogs. Like we went from Maryland to Colorado in
Wow.
2 days.
Yeah.
So 800 miles back to back 850-mile days. And now we don't do that anymore. We generally are off the road by like 7 o'clock at the latest. That way we can kind of keep her in her routine. We'll
Mm-hmm.
do areas, campgrounds, wherever. So we're trying to do our best to keep her in a familiar routine. And then if we're doing like a long haul, we try to stop every couple hours for her to stretch, eat, do whatever outside of the car seat. But yeah, I mean, our goal is to not travel so far, but we've done
But we do.
Oregon to Maryland, and we did that in 3 days, and then we stopped for 4, and then another 3. So we
Yeah, we did Oregon to Maryland when she
in
was 6 months when she was 6 months
in
old.
6 travel days.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty serious. That's pretty good though. She must be a good traveler. Like, yeah,
She's definitely a good traveler.
she's gotten a choice now.
She's just come more into it. Something else, like for anyone listening as well, like we put her in the car seat basically this day she got from the hospital and took her in the car like every day for like
Smart.
a week straight, just around the neighborhood, whatever,
Just so she was comfortable.
just so she was comfortable with the car seat, and we never had any issues.
That's really smart. My kid just screamed in the car seat until she was like 9 months old. It was lovely. So, yeah, maybe if I would have done that, it was such an adventure. All right, so the next would you rather dye the mullet rainbow or shave it?
Oh, I would shave it.
I shave it. I'd say,
Yeah.
I bet you would say shave.
Okay. All right. Good to know. That was a quick one. Alex and Libby, thank you so much for keeping travel real, practical, and unpredictable at times. So, everyone listening, if you're not already following Traveling Toms, you can find them over on Instagram and all the places where they're going to crack you up and also help you out with tons of RV and travel tips. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe and leave a review if you're digging the unfiltered real talk. Safe travels, y'all. Don't unbuckle just yet. I want to share a song with you that I guarantee you've never heard before. And a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's episode, eTrailer and Camp Champ. These companies are true staples in the RV community, and their support gives these incredible travelers another space to share their journeys and inspire others. Be sure to check out Camp Champ's line of tank treatments and cleaning essentials and make eTrailer your go-to for all your RV upgrades. They really do have it all.
one map. We were 24 and wild like that. Bought more miles than we could afford. Big dreams, tiny little 4x4. Upgraded rigs and coffee cups. Woke up in the desert sun. You said point that nose toward who knows where. I just laughed and put it in gear. Woo! We're the traveling Toms, got our life in a rolling home. From Red Rock Canyons to Pine Tree Downs, we just keep on, keep on. Baby, seat by the window now, same big sky, just a little more loud. From 2 hearts running to 3 hearts strong. We're the traveling Toms, yeah, we're the traveling Toms.
Wi-Fi meetings at a picnic bench, dress shirt up top, flip-flops in the trench. Corporate calls with a mountain view. Hit in, grab the camera, that's take 2. You fix your hair, I fix my hat. You film the world, I film your laugh. Mulleted man behind the wheel, my turning every dirt road into our driveway.
We're the traveling Toms, got our life in a rolling home. From Red Rock Canyons to Pine Tree Downs, we just keep on, keep on. Baby, seat by the window now, same big sky, just a little more loud. From 2 hearts running to 3 hearts strong. We're the traveling Toms, yeah, we're the traveling Toms. We changed the floor plan, changed our planes. Tiny crib where the boots once rained. Sleepless nights under northern stars. Rocking that kid in a national park. We made it fit, we made it ours. Every new mile, every new scar. Are we crazy, you ask sometimes. I just smile and say,
Hit drive.
we're the traveling Toms, got our life in a rolling home. From Red Rock Canyons to Pine Tree Downs, we just keep on, keep on.